What's up, guys? Franco here with the Achievement Hunter community, and would you kindly sit back and relax, because we're going to go down to Rapture to find 5 fun facts on, you guessed it, Bioshock. Now, Bioshock is a game which takes place in 1960, well, an alternate version of 1960, and you are a plane crash survivor named Jack, who stumbles upon this really awesome underwater city. In terms of plot, that's where I'm going to stop, because this game is very, very story heavy or story driven. So if you want to learn more about the story, pick the game up if you haven't played it before. But concerning the game itself, it got really good reviews. The story's nice and long. It's very fun to play. And it has a sequel and then another sequel which is coming out called Bioshock Infinite, which is kind of cool. So with all that being said, let's talk about the facts. Now, the first fact is pretty startling to me. And it is that the main enemy in the game, who are called splicers, they have really messed up faces, and the artists made their faces by looking at World War I veterans who had undergone facial reconstructive surgery. So, I mean, if they weren't creepy enough, now they're sad and creepy and they make me feel bad when I shoot them. But that's okay, because, like I said in another video, I love how art teams for video games do things differently, and it's all fun to know. Now, fact number 2, which is also pretty cool, there's these places throughout Rapture called gene banks, and you can switch out your character's skill sets and whatnot. But during playtesting, these machines were actually called plasmiquics, and it was changed during, well, the testing phase, because players didn't use them because they weren't sure what plasmiquics were. Like, they didn't understand, like, just by the name what they could do there. So they really had to change that to make the game work better. Now, who owns all this stuff and who, is influenced by the splicers and everything? It's Andrew Ryan, who built Rapture, and he's pretty much a badass. But did you know that Andrew Ryan is an anagram, kind of Ayn Rand, who was a Russian-American author and a whole bunch of other things? Yeah, she created a philosophy, or founded a philosophy called objectivism, which is basically what this whole game is based on. And there's a lot of different references to Ayn Rand stuff, like her books and her ideas and stuff, and that's really awesome. I love taking people from, like, history and using them. Not sexually, that'd be weird. Oh god, okay, let's just move on. Alright, fact number 4. So we talked about enemies, let's talk about bosses. The main boss of the game is a Big Daddy, which is, you can see one right here, he's a bouncer. But did you know that there were enemies before that called savants that were basically brains in a jar that you had to fight? Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, right? Apparently that's what Irrational Games thought, because during playtesting they determined that fighting brains in a jar really isn't that fun, so they scrapped it completely. Although I would love to see some of the concept art for them. And finally, fact number 5, this one's pretty cool. The game that Bioshock is based on, kind of, is System Shock, which is another Irrational Games game. And in one of the audio diaries in Rapture, you can hear someone talking about the Vita Chambers in Rapture, which bring you back to life after you die. And they're quoted saying plasmid reconstruction this and quantum entanglement that. Now, that quote is a reference to System Shock, because in order to reconstruct your character after death in that game, you used to have to provide quantum entanglement samples. So it's a really cool callback to an earlier game. But those are all the facts. Thank you so much for watching, and check back at achievementhunter.com for more.